Okay, I'm gonna try this again. Last Friday it was raining, so passing through Columbus again, which I do twice a week, and stopped at Arrow Saarinen North Christian Church. Saarinen died in 1961 at the young age of 51. The church was completed in 1964. And I'm standing in the parking lot. Well, it did look like dirt because I was facing down. Now I'm facing up. The image looks a little dark because the sun's in the background. You can sort of see the silhouette as I'm walking through the parking area towards the church. Saarinen also designed the famous tulip chair, CBS headquarters, IBM. This particular building is a United States national landmark. And no one is here at the church this evening. They must not have Sunday evening services in the summertime at least, so no chance of going inside. I'll walk around the church and get the sun behind me, and then it might be a better view. It's really nice this evening. It's not as hot and humid as it has been. Before I saw the church in person as a student, I'd always seen photographs of it and assumed it was out in a rural setting, but it's actually just about less than 100 yards from the highway. But they did a nice job of screening it with trees on the grounds. You can see the roof detail, and the gutters are very expressive. There's the lower level. Oh, there is a car back here at the rear of the church. I don't know if someone is inside. This is kind of a better angle because the sun is at the rear, so you can kind of see it in the ground's a little bit better. Backing up photo. Entryway. See this giant gutter that comes down from the roof and dumps out water into this grating that catches it and takes it down below. The deep overhangs really give a sense of shelter. So again, here's the gutter on the other side. There's a ladder down there. One of my professors that passed away recently had always said he wanted to do a book about how things like trash and the dumpster area are handled on famous buildings, because too often they're very visible. And I don't see where they store their trash, although you can see this grating down here, which is probably air intake for the mechanical unit, but it's very well hidden. You have to kind of try to find it down here, so it's not really visible from anywhere else unless you're right up on top of it. So there's the spire again. I'll go down here and look at the grounds. Some trees. I don't know what kind of trees these are. They have a kind of a broad leaf. I don't think they're magnolias because those don't grow well this far north. The church was finished in 1964. Eros Saarinen died in 1961 at the age of 51. And I can't recall for sure, but I think it was something like he had an aneurysm and he died suddenly, he fell ill. It was something that happened really suddenly. I don't know what these trees are, but you can see the little fruit on them. I'm just not familiar with what this tree is. Try to smell them, but I have a poor sense of smell, so it's hard to tell. This one's kind of an unusual shape. Anyway, there's a shot. It's hard to get the whole building. No, I don't think that's what they are. But there's quite a few of them, and it's a nice, almost like a little forest of these trees. But they're probably as old as the church, and some of them aren't doing too well. I don't know. Well, there's a shot. Well, there was a car around back, but it didn't look like the building was unlocked. I didn't try the door. I think they keep it locked up and secure after hours. So I guess there's no way to zoom on Periscope, but it's kind of hard to get a real sense of some of the detail as the metalwork goes up, and then about halfway up the spire there's some circular louvers to vent out the space, and it's pretty amazing because the support of the spire comes down to all the points, and in the center underneath the spire it actually is separated from the roof below, so it's kind of hovering up above. And when you're inside the building in the main sanctuary space, there's actually a skylight there, so this indirect natural light spills into the space. It's really kind of dark. That startled me. Didn't realize there were bells here. About dropped my phone when I heard that. Yes. Here's the main entrance. They have a little memorial wall. I guess this must be, I don't know if this is a donor wall or a memorial wall. We'll check it out up close. I don't remember seeing it the last time I was here. maybe these must be church members or something. The Miller family is the family that was instrumental in bringing the architects to Columbus. So J. Irwin Miller is the man who Eero Saarinen designed the private home for, that is a modern architecture masterpiece and now opened for public tours for the first time a few years ago when Mrs. Miller died in 2008. It took a couple of years to transfer the property to the Indianapolis Museum of Art, but they now offer tours. I guess there's one of the reverends and some other people that must have been church members. Obviously, J. Irwin Miller was a member at the church. So, and his home isn't too far from here that Saarinen designed. So, and I think I'll save this video to YouTube for future viewing. You can see this plaza here has a drain, and there's actually a little drain down here where water spills out onto the sidewalk and then it goes down below. So it's kind of nice. So anyway, that's the parking lot, and you can see how well the parking lot is screened from the main entrance with the vegetation. It looks like they might have, I don't think those are ash trees, but they have a couple of dead trees, and their landscaping is really needs to be trimmed up. It looks like it hasn't been taken care of very well recently. Trying not to get my reflection in the video. Here's the main entrance. Kind of the corner detail, the corner glazing, you can see where the glass comes to a corner and there's no mullion. That's kind of a detail that Frank Lloyd Wright started, having corner glass with no mullion, and Saarinen wasn't the first one to come up with that. He borrowed that from Frank Lloyd Wright, who did it at Falling Water in 1939 and several other places. So, anyway, this is the outside of the church. I can see inside, but the camera can't see inside, unfortunately. The doors to the sanctuary are open. There you go. If I hold the phone up to the glass, you can actually see through the glass, and you can see the steps that lead into the sanctuary space. And another thing that Saarinen did here, which Frank Lloyd Wright did, is there's a sequence of moving through space, and sometimes you go into a low ceiling area, and then there's the aha moment when the big space opens up into something more dramatic, and that kind of happens here, but I can't really show you that. Here's another shot from the inside. Again, I'm holding my phone up directly to the glass so you can see in. I'll go over here to the other side. I found the church. Well, I knew about the church when I was a student in college, and one time I just came to Columbus and drove around and figured out where it was. So anyway, that's another shot of the interior. So there's a lower level. The main level is the sanctuary space, and then the lower level is where classrooms are and meeting spaces, the kitchen and offices and things like that are mostly on the lower level. So that is my updated close-up video of the North Christian Church. I'm probably going to turn around and get a bite to eat in Columbus, and then get down to Louisville before it gets too late. Get back here a little farther. I thought I might be able to get a dramatic photo at dusk. Oh, it's I don't know the size of the congregation, and it's been a few years since I was in the sanctuary, but I would guess, you could get I would guess 200 or 300 people fit inside the for seating, and there's exits on both sides of the church, so no issues with exiting. That works out fine. Probably the biggest issue today is accessibility for disabled individuals because of the steps, and I really didn't look at that closely, but that's something I hadn't thought of till now. But I don't know what kind of accommodations they've made for folks with wheelchairs, but I think the rear entrance has fewer steps. Well, join me for the bite to eat. Yeah, that would be interesting. Anyway, I'm getting farther back. It'd be nice if the sky was turning a neat color or something, but the sky's so bright you can kind of see the sun shining there through the opening between the roof and the steeple, for lack of a better word. And that's really where the daylight comes into the sanctuary space. So when you're in the center of the sanctuary, it's pretty dark, and then the light kind of glows from above, and it's kind of dramatic. I don't know. I suppose when they have services, they have indirect lighting around the perimeter of the room. When I was there, it seemed rather dark, and it would probably be tough for people to read for hymnals in there and things like that. But I don't think the lighting was on full strength the time that I was inside, so it may not be that bad. So I'm walking back to the car, trying not to fall down. Yeah, here's a giant weed. So the landscaping is really in need of some work. They've got broken trees and limbs down, all kinds of things. So it's kind of disappointing. But hopefully they'll get that cleaned up. It may be whoever was doing it was delayed by all the rain, and they haven't been able to get to the motivation for the design. Well, Saarinen's designs are all very unique. And when he came to design the church for the congregation, in reading about it, he told the congregation that he wanted to know what kind of church they wanted, and his approach was always to be very inclusive and work with the client to find out what they wanted, and so he really didn't have a preconceived notion. He sat down with them and talked about what their needs were and started planning, and I think that's the way a lot of good architects try to approach design. When you're in this space, I mentioned earlier the corner glass windows. The other thing that this church has some similarities with, there's a church called Unity Temple in Chicago that Frank Lloyd Wright designed, and it was built in 1910. And one of the great things about that church was the seating is on three sides in the congregation. Everyone faces each other, and it was a Unitarian church, and it's a different kind of space. It was very modern, and in the layout of this sanctuary is similar to that. The seating takes on an almost like a theater in the round type of shape, so everyone's looking at each other and no one's anonymous. And I'm sure that probably was an idea that Saarinen picked up on from Wright's earlier church, and took that idea and interpreted it in his own way. But that's just speculation on my part. But there are a lot of similarities between those two ideas. So anyway, there you can see the steeple. It's pretty hard to see, but on the very top there's a cross, and it's somewhat amazing that it's been up there since 1964, because it's pretty tall. It's held up better than the trees in the parking lot have, that's for sure. So, alright, well, say goodbye to the North Christian Church. If you want to find out more about Eero Saarinen, his name is spelled E-E-R-O, last name S-A-A-R-I-N-E-N. His father was from Finland, an architect also, and they actually lived in a Detroit suburb, and taught at a design school there called Cranbrook Academy, which I took a field trip to when I was in college, and we visited the father's home, and someone at the school gave us a tour, and one of the interesting parts of the tour was we were standing in their home, and he was telling us the story about the competition in St. Louis, where both the father and the son had entered the competition to design the Gateway Memorial to the West in downtown St. Louis next to the river. And it was an open competition, so lots of architects submitted designs. And the father designed something that was a series of rectilinear towers. The son designed a large arch, and the phone rang, and someone answered the phone, and I think it was the father, and the person calling had to clarify that the call was for the son, and the son got on the phone, and he was told that he was the winner of the competition. So that's kind of an interesting story. And so the St. Louis Arch was the winning design and got built. And that's one of those things that as a student I never thought too much about it, but when I saw it in person I thought it was very impressive. So that's all for this Periscope video, and I think I might save this one, and it's getting bright with the sun, and I'll save this one, and I'll do another Periscope video sometime later.